Hey, everybody. How's it going? Good morning. This is Sarah Hinawi here in Ian McKee's studio in lovely Pacifica, California. And we're back with the next episode of The Next Right Step. I'm here with my amazing, innovative, creative co-host, NM Lifestyle. You want to say hello?
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Nonstop, aka NM Lifestyle. Changing it up a little bit. I'm a little camera shy. Really? But no, we're just out here hanging out. I'm just enjoying myself. And how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a good week, and we got Ian McKee here.
Yo.
And we have our gentle millennial friend,
Hello.
Sophia. And I realizing I'm not sure I even know your last name yet. You want to?
It's a
share
toughie.
with it?
My last name is Mahoney Rural.
Okay.
Irish German in that order.
Okay. All right, Sophia Mahoney Rural.
Yeah.
Welcome
Thank
to The
you.
Next Right Step.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, on this sunny and chilly Monday morning. So we just had Thanksgiving. So I thought today we'll switch up the check-in a little bit and we could say how our Thanksgiving was, or like one thing really stood out about this year's Thanksgiving. How about that? And maybe while we're at it, since we didn't do it last time, like one recipe that you think nobody else's Thanksgiving table has that yours does. And then like one thing that's been working really well this week and one thing that's been hard.
Okay. Got it.
So I could go first.
No, you have to go first.
I have to go first?
No, you don't have to, but I like when you go first.
Okay, that's fair.
So I can copy and paste.
Yeah. I'm modeling. I'll model.
There you go.
Let's see. Not that I had planned anything to say. Well, I had all three of my kids with me for Thanksgiving. My two older ones flew in from college for Thanksgiving. And the four of us made the entire Thanksgiving meal ourselves on Wednesday. And it came out great. And it was just like, usually I've shared that with my parents or my sister. Like there are other people around who we're doing the meal with, and we were kind of on our own this year. And there's something like a little sad about that. It was my mom's birthday actually on Thanksgiving, and we Zoomed with them. But there was also something so sweet about all of us stepping up and my daughter taking on my grandma's. So the recipe that I love at Thanksgiving that I've never heard of anybody else ever having is called carrot pudding. And my grandmother used to make it, and it's delicious. It's like a bundt-shaped, buttery, it's like carrot cake, but richer.
And she didn't bring any of it.
I have some. I know. I just like, as you're saying that, I'm like, I have some leftovers. I would like to give you some. So anyway, that was my Thanksgiving. One thing that's been working well this week. I guess I've been able to talk myself down from my anxiety a little bit better this week. Last week I was like a little frenzied, and I have a lot of decisions and stuff going on. But this week I feel like the key with anxiety, I hear music.
Somebody's jamming across the street.
Oh, outside. Right on. Like sometimes I'm better than others at staying in the present moment and just and there's probably something around being with my older kids for whom I need to model that, brings me back into practice of just sort of being like, okay, there's that I have to deal with. I can't do anything about it right now. We're all sitting here together and this is beautiful. And so, I'll deal with that, and I'll deal with it at the appropriate time. And like when it's the next right step to do that, I'll do that. Right now, the next right step is to be present here for this experience. So that's something that's been going well, I think. Something that's been hard is finding enough time to write and play music. Um, I was saying to Liam, I bumped into him the other day at Winters, and we were like accountability buddies. And I was mentioning I haven't finished a song in like 9 months. I have like 5 songs that I'm half to 2/3 done with, and so that's something that I'm feeling like I need to build some more discipline around.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, you're 5 songs more than me. I haven't got inspired in that way in a long time, but I mean, we'll talk about that. But
Yeah, we can.
I appreciate the share, and it's good to hear, good to see you. I'm glad that you had a good Thanksgiving with your kids.
Thank you.
And yeah, so let's move on to our guest of honor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do clockwise.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
gonna get more
next.
buffer time before this.
I mean, I can jump in, but
Let's
if you
see if I remember
Okay.
what the prompts
I know
are.
a lot of prompts.
Something that's been
it's Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
something that we think is on our Thanksgiving table that may not be present at other people's Thanksgiving tables.
Yes.
What's been going well this week? What's been hard?
Yep.
This week? Okay.
There she
that's
goes.
Well, yeah, my Thanksgiving, I don't know if there's anything specific each year that may not be anyone else's meal or celebration.
Yeah.
But for a few years, I've gone out to dinner for Thanksgiving. I go down to Southern California to visit with my aunt and my grandmother. And my grandmother's 93. She is trucking onward, but in assisted living. So we don't do dinner all together anymore. We do sometimes join for the 3:30 p.m. dinner mealtime
Yeah.
at her place that she's living now.
Yeah.
Watch everybody eat broth and have a good time. And this year we went to a buffet style meal, which was
Nice.
pretty sweet. So maybe, yeah, that's what's unconventional about my Thanksgiving the last 4 years or so is
Uh-huh.
that we go out and make sure that we tip all the employees working on Thanksgiving really well.
Yeah. Do you go out for the same kind of food every year or different things?
We've mostly changed it up.
Uh-huh.
This year we did assign the task of choosing where we went to my aunt.
Uh-huh.
And she felt bad that she chose an expensive buffet that was not maybe as knock it out of the park as we'd expected for the price that it was.
Yeah.
But you live and you learn. And maybe we'll vote on
Yeah.
in future years. But it was a really good time. I love catching up with that side of the family. Me, my dad, and my sister road tripped down to Southern California together this year. So that was really fun. They are, I would say, my least stressful family members to travel with. So it was a good ride down together.
Nice.
And what's been going well this week? I'm finishing up my first semester of classes, so I'm feeling the relief of going into winter break.
Yeah.
And what else has been going well? I'm getting over my cold, my first ick of the season. And what's been a little tough is
Just one
I think
thing. It doesn't have to be everything.
okay,
Yeah.
that's good. One thing that's been a little tougher is I also struggle with being present. I think that's
Yeah.
something that I could really work on. I'm often thinking about what I need to do or where I need to be next or at some time in the future versus just like being in the moment and in the place that I'm
Yeah.
at. And that's something that I hope to get into with talking about growing up here. Pacifica is
Yeah.
there's a lot of locations where it's great and relatively easy to be present because there's some really breathtaking stuff
Yeah.
in this town.
Right on.
Right on.
Thank you.
And I will get into it. That's a big reason why I wanted to have you here because you have an abundance of knowledge and experience here in Pacifica.
I don't know if I'd say an abundance.
I like the word abundance, but I would say just you have your own unique take on it, and we'll dive into it as we all do. Like I've learned for the first time that I haven't been on Palmetto as my like. There was places that I was like I've never been here. So Thanksgiving for me was good. It was interesting. It was my kids went over because my brother has the house in Oakland. He has the big house, so that's where all the Thanksgiving is. If we're gonna have a family gathering, it's gonna be there. But all my kids went over there, and then me and my girl, we just hung back when we stayed, and we had our own, own little dinner, which was cool. Um, so I was Thanksgiving. I would say over the years, the most unique dish would be, and it's crazy because I don't eat it, but it's always there. Is there's this like cultured like fish that they boil and they put in like coconut milk, and it's like
Mm.
it's really good if you're a seafood person in that way. My seafood experience has to be fried. I don't know what it is, but I like the fried seafood. Otherwise, it's not my cup of tea. But it's a really good like a whole fish boiled down, baked, and then like smothered in coconut milk, like with onions, and it's just all this, And I'll put a photo up so you guys can see it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But so Thanksgiving was great. That's a unique dish for my culture. Um, what's been going well? Learning to like be more softer on myself and be like, hey, like just what you said when you was like, once your kids got in, you're like,
Yeah.
well, okay, so you could either choose to be stressed out and like thinking about being outside of what the moment is presenting, or you can just enjoy and be very thankful that we're alive and well, we're as healthy as we can be in the moment, and our kids are right here.
Yeah.
For me as a parent, you know what I mean. Just that was the number one thing for me. I took my son on Friday, the next day to because he lives in LA and he goes to school modern day. I took him to Nick's
Mm.
and he had some steak. All my kids are steak. They like just give me a big steak, and I'm like, well, that's an expensive dinner. But for the moment, I took him there, and I was talking to Ian's dad earlier this morning. I was just letting him know that like I kind of just threw out the ideas of what I had of the old self of how I grew up in a strict family, and so I was always the authority figure, and now with him being literally physically distant, I'm starting to see how important it is to have a stronger bond than the one, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I just have this one approach to my parenthood, and I'm like, well, it's also good to be patient and just wait till he wants to talk, and so and embracing the silence. Like there was times where it just was quiet, and
Yeah.
if I'm be honest, I chat GPT'd it. I was like, what can I do to make this smoother? And it was like just ask questions, ask how he's doing,
Yeah.
which is things that like basic stuff that you kind of just it's good to be reminded. I just was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm on the right path. I had the right idea. I just
Mhm.
had somebody to kind of push it, and make it real. So that was cool, and it ended up being really well. Like we just
Yeah.
enjoyed our meal. I just let him know how much I miss him.
Yeah.
I told him how much this time meant to me, and then fast forward, he ended up being my camera operator on Saturday, so we had a good time. It was a paid event. It was a paid event. I was
Yeah.
talking to Sophia earlier, and it was like it doesn't matter because it was all worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what went well, and then the hard stuff. I think my time management is getting tough now because there's new projects. This stuff is what I love. The podcast, I love the feedback that I'm getting from everybody, but I also know that it's it's a little bit of a workload, and it's a good thing. But then I have work, and I have the kids, and I just have things are piling up. Holidays are on the way. I'm not really. I don't ever get like stressed out like, oh, Christmas, because Christmas gifts, stuff like that. But it's in there. It's in the
Yeah.
little category of like things to think about. But the next right step for me is being totally present here.
Mhm.
Even as you guys were talking, I wanted to say it because I was like, I can just imagine us talking right here, and then like put the thought bubble of each of us.
Yeah,
It's just
right.
like your thought bubble is like, when
Yeah, there's actually
did I
10 other
did I
things.
Yeah,
leave
right. We gotta
did I
get
leave the
present.
oven on
Yeah,
and
right.
stuff like that? And
And I have.
I appreciate that. Like, just share that because it's like we all can get sidetracked, or not even.
Yeah.
It's just things that naturally happen. But if we talk about it, here on a
Right. Then
podcast,
you can kind of put it down.
that's it.
Exactly.
Thought
That's the
bubble.
great thing about a check-in.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's the Thanksgiving, that's the food, and the hard thing is like right now currently is just looking at the time management and just getting that back
Yeah.
in,
Yeah. Um, Thank you. There's so much richness in there. It's hard for me to not just start digging into all of that like we were in a one-on-one session, but I'll just say like the parenting stuff, and see how that could be hard, especially if you had that sort of already ingrained in your relationship. But it must have felt like such a lift. It must have felt so great for your son to get that interest from you. And
I was like, I like to hear myself.
Once you get used to it, it's kind of fun.
if you have you've got a really lovely speaking voice, Sophia.
Thank you. One time when I was doing my certification to do interpretive programming, which is what I do now, not language interpretation, I'll get into it later.
Okay.
I had one of my classmates tell me that she would listen to me read a recipe for jam bars. Meaning she'd listen to me say anything. I was like, that's the best compliment I've ever received. Maybe I'll do, maybe my side hustle will be audiobooks.
Yeah. Well, totally.
Oh?
There's good work to be had there.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
My people, meaning me.
So let's get into this conversation.
Okay.
You got some stuff we want to dive into, or?
Oh yeah, you might be the only one who wrote anything down. I know I did not.
Well, I am also approaching this from a place of curiosity because I'm meeting Sophia today for the first time.
Yeah.
I've seen like a glimpse of your Instagram because I'm such a terrible Instagrammer.
It's perfectly
not like shout out to NM Lifestyle, who's doing these amazing interviews and totally touched my heart this week by sharing a copy of my great aunt's book. But he's doing these interviews out in community. It's so cool. We did a couple together at Winters the other day. I'd love to do more together.
Absolutely.
And I really want one of those jerseys.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, I was like, well, I said off air. But so when I went and got it, it's just a little custom app. And so I started doing it. I was like, oh, $40, cool. And then it divvies everything, every itemized in it. It was like, I was like, I'll get her one later. But I wanted it. I was like, let me.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, the only way I really know of you before today is through Leo, who introduced you as Gentle Millennial Friend.
My alter ego.
It's a brand. You gotta build it up.
It's kind of a goal.
It's kind of a goal. Yeah,
check.
I get it. I'm Portraits of Self-Care. So I just wondered maybe we could start there. And like, what does that mean to you? What does being a millennial mean to you? What does a gentle millennial friend do and offer?
Sure. So Gentle Millennial Friend was originally started, and I've really tried to keep the intention there with every single Friday doing what I call a Fun Fact Friday. And it's taken many different forms. Sometimes they're funny and goofy and being like, fun fact, you should hydrate, or like things that are very kind of surface level.
Okay.
But also things that, like every so often I'll put out and ask for people to give me topics that they're curious about, and it could be anything. Because I love diving down rabbit holes. It's part of why I like my job. I get to do a lot of random historical, ecological, and cultural research. And so it started from a friend telling me, give me a compliment that I'm good at explaining things. And I like explaining things. My background is in education. I had thought that I'd be a classroom teacher, teaching elementary school. And I get to do aspects of that now, but I really do love sort of getting people to an understanding on certain topics, whether it's like multiplication or why leaves turn brown in the fall, and sort of understanding more about the world, especially the natural world. That's just like a passion of mine and why I love working outside. And so the idea of a fun fact or something informational as often as possible and sort of couched in as friendly and non-judgmental a way as possible was the goal of the page, and still is. And it's also to kind of build this personal brand. And that's where the name Gentle Millennial Friend came from, is that I have a lot of passions. I work I volunteer my time as a steward with my union. I'm very passionate about topics like education on climate change and ecology, and how sometimes ways that I wish people still fit in with our natural environment and the ways that we're separated from it. But specifically in a way that is positive and is not like, you should be doing this. My therapist calls it shoulding on yourself, which is a great...
Yes, I call it that to my clients as well.
Exactly.
That's from Albert Ellis, the founder of Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy. He has
like
a book called
book
How to
read.
Stop People from Pressing Your Buttons.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Continue.
I'm also reading a good one, the Devin Price book, Laziness Does Not Exist. That's a really good one. It teaches you to stop giving yourself a lot of shoulds and putting shoulds on other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, my goal
I
is
should read that.
It's a good one. It's a really good one. And yeah, laziness is not real, as it turns out. It's made up just like everything else. But yeah, giving this information to people in a way that excites them and inspires them to keep learning more rather than like, oh, I can't believe I didn't know that. Or like, I feel dumb that I don't really understand this after watching a 50-second video on it. Like how could anyone really get a profound understanding from just that? But it's to get people started and get them curious about as many things as possible and to just use critical thinking skills and that kind of inquisitiveness to just keep asking questions, because that's what I do and how I've gotten a lot of the information that I have and that I like to share. And that is sort of the brand, because it would be wonderful if this does someday generate a consistent income or gain some notoriety so more people are getting this information. But for now, the goal is just to share it. And that's the premise of the page.
And gentle, I can kind of like, I like, it's like somebody's just sort of tapping you on the shoulder, like, hey, did you know this? Hey, did you know that? So it, like that I have meaning around. And millennial, obviously, I have meaning around that too. But I'm curious what if any significance that had for you as part of like the brand name.
That part it's a bit more of like personal identity. It's a lot of the things that the word I would use is kvetch about is the struggle of being born in the mid-90s and feeling like I am not necessarily privy to some of the maybe economic or employment opportunities that my parents had, and that it feels a bit like Gen Z has, or like certain resources that I feel like I don't get access to. And
as a millennial?
Yeah. There is a definite kind of economic silo for people aged about, I guess, rounding my age up like 30 to 40-ish, or a lot of people sort of born in that 90s time period. It's interesting. There's just like a smaller amount of wealth being accrued by people in that age group than people immediately before or after them.
And so when you say you don't have access to resources that other people have access to, like what are you referring to? Money? Or are you referring to like some kind of learning or training that you feel like that group didn't get, that other people get?
It is mostly economic, like money, income. A lot of it is housing. Feeling like my parents put a down payment of whatever they found on their couch on their house. And that like I would have to have a small fortune to buy a condo in this area now. And like feeling like I'm sort of trying to work towards something that like with the options I have, especially in terms of like owning a home or large economic decisions like that around here, that I'm like, are these things that I even want? Like, does owning a 2-bedroom apartment motivate me to stay in this area? I don't know.
Maybe
and so
just a van down by the river.
Maybe.
That's what our generation's turning to.
Seriously, van life is prevalent.
It's been on my mind.
Yeah. And then, sort of personally with my passion being in a sector that does not often make a ton of money, education, trying to figure out like what my talents are and how I can apply them to be, I don't need to be rich, just economically successful. And like, I'd love to be able to raise a family and be able to pay for childcare. Childcare is another really big, expensive factor, because I also, knowing many people who work in childcare, my first, under the table jobs being babysitting, everyone deserves to be paid well. And I want the people who are taking care of my future theoretical children to be paid well. And at the same time, I'm like, damn, does it need to be $2,500 a month? So things like that feel like a little especially economically, just kind of stagnant for people around my age.
Let's not forget the prices at the bar. We gotta put in our beer budget. You know what I mean? You guys are forgetting that. You know what I mean?
And for winners, always carry cash.
He's like,
that's important. I get. Can I follow you down this road a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, I don't want to get
and
too
put that canteen up, man. You gotta.
My one brand partnership.
Oh wow, really?
It's really cool. Yeah, these things are great. There's
That's
63
your merch?
stickers. Oh, it's not mine.
Oh.
It is from Wondery Outdoors.
Oh, okay.
But
Cool.
it's a really cool company started by women of color. 5% of every purchase of this kind of bottle goes to the National Parks Conservation Association. So aligns with something that I'm definitely passionate about.
Which I did use the promo code.
Thank you.
And I got you a gift. I got you one of them. I was gonna surprise you, but I got you one of those canteens. I don't drink water, so yeah, it's on the way.
Go hydrate.
Oh my God,
My
you're
other
so
water bottle
sweet.
has a sticker that says hydrate or dihydrate on it. And it's true.
You know what I mean?
You must hydrate or you will dihydrate.
I hydrate with caffeine. Yeah. Cheers.
I see there's a LaCroix over there.
I notice how far it is from me.
Yeah, it's the essence of hydration.
Very distant.
I just wanted to you said so many interesting things just now. But what I wrote down here was economics/success. And you said you want to be economically successful. And I think over the past few years, I was much more financially stable 5 years ago than I am right now. Had definitely some scary moments and have done a lot of thinking about and I know a lot of women in their 50s who are starting from scratch again, which is basically what I'm doing. And we've had to kind of deconstruct the idea, separate economics from success.
Yeah.
And I think about that. I think about that a lot, not just in terms of inflation and how inaccessible things are, but also, and this is going to seem like a leap, but we were talking a little about AI before, and people talk about all the jobs that are going to be lost with AI, and there's not going to be enough work. A lot of what people talk about in conversations about the fear of the future with AI is that there's not going to be enough work. People are going to get idle, and then bad things are going to happen because they're going to get restless, and people with idle hands are dangerous. I've heard that a lot.
Okay, dangerous in what way? Revolution or?
Well, they do. I think boredom does lead to restlessness and can agitate a community. So there's that. But in my mind, less jobs doesn't mean less work. There's a ton of fucking work to do in the world. Yeah. There's people starving all over the place. There's there's so much work and care that needs to be done. And I feel like as a community, we need to change how we think about work. What are we here for? We're not here to earn money. We're here to contribute to a healthy society. And so and it's hard when you don't have access to the things to make your life sustainable.
Absolutely.
But I guess I'm just curious about if you differentiate, what is success for you in terms of the life you're trying to build?
It's a great question because I have sort of the two perspectives on this. One is the more gentle millennial friend side of things that is a little bit more idealistic and optimistic and that I like to try and stay in a lot of the time. And there's this grumpy side of me that's my boss is being mean and I don't make enough money and I don't, which is what I've sort of expressed thus far. But I would love to see, and part of what sort of motivates me to try and stay in this area and just be sort of, economically stable enough, make enough to just be able to also pursue passions and be in the community that I've been in for so long. Because my family moved to Pacifica when I was turning 7 years old, and I've never lived more than 2 hours away. And one of the things that I was sort of reflecting on listening to Liam's episode, the previous episode, is that...
You listened to that?
Yeah, a little bit. I had to study for my appearance on this podcast. And Liam is a longtime friend, but given that I could really stand to expand my social circle here and kind of deepen that community, because success to me, like what would be really deeply personally satisfying, is filling my time in the system that we live under that unfortunately is probably going to have to generate income of some kind. We are dependent on money in our current societal circumstances.
Yeah.
But to have sort of like my kids, my friendships, my lifetime be like in sort of that like raised by a village setting where everyone knows each other, everyone has sort of this mutual aid network with each other, where it's like, oh, you need somebody to like cat sit or like babysit for you for 3 days. I got you. You like need a place to have a little like side hustle or like store some stuff. Oh, I have like an extra closet in my small business that I can lend to you, and having this mutual sense of just wanting each other to succeed with the things that we are passionate about and that make us happy.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really worry about with the AI takeover is that the way that our society is currently structured is that people will literally not be able to survive or survive in a healthy way without jobs that are going to be replaced by algorithms. And that may make a lot of people restless. I think first, it's going to make a lot of people homeless and hungry.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
really economically unstable.
Yes.
And so my hope coming out of that, or ideally that doesn't happen, but if it does, that they're out of necessity develop these mutual aid networks and these ways that people are operating outside of that. Because at a certain point, we do have to kind of realize that many, many people do care about each other and have that basic sense of empathy. People that are in control of development of a lot of these technologies have become detached from that.
Yeah.
And they don't really care how many people are laid off because of their program. So it's kind of up to those of us who are not involved on that level to band together.
Absolutely. Beautiful how you just put all that together.
Oh, good. I thought I was just rambling.
No. It was great. And I mean, that's what community resilience is about. You know, and ideally, like that's maybe something we're trying to help build here. Like it excited me to hear you talking about it that way. And it's certainly like my fantasy of building is like a community where we're just working on life together. You know, we're like living together and making it work as a group. And I feel like it's going to take that kind of, and it's a little subversive right now.
Yeah. These are radical ideas, you guys.
But like, do you have fantasies about how you'd put that into action?
Sort of. I would love one of the like, another sort of, if it's not a van down by the river, for a lot of people in my age group, it's living in a super rural place and having a little farm. I feel like kind of homesteading. And I would love to be able to do that. Like I have groups of friends I've talked to about like moving to a more affordable area, teaming up to buy a few acres of land and just like basically subsistence farming, or like having a farmer's market stand. Or I would love to be able to develop like an agricultural education program. My background's not in agriculture, but I could add that onto my education background, or keep doing similar programs to what I'm doing where I talk about sort of local ecology. Right now in my job, I get to do really cool boat tours in a salt marsh, which is amazing. And that taking those sort of principles or those things I get to do and applying them in a way that is feeding directly back into the community that I want to serve. And I get to do some of that now, but it is, for a government. It is not for the people I grew up with.
I just want to add real quick as you were talking. I'm just so like amazed by the fact that you do have a job, you got to make a living, right? And you understand, how it works, but you're creating something like just off of your Instagram. I was curious, so and that's what you're basically doing. You're curious, you're a curious mind, and you're just sharing your curiosity. and you're being organic, and that's why that's what draw me to your Instagram, your social media. Was like, okay, she's just giving out information, but she's also being real about what she doesn't know, and that, to me, that gets more clicks and views and organic followers. Like, you get a natural following just by being yourself. Because I had a question, was like, what's the difference between, or is there a difference between the gentle millennial and Sophia? Like, is there, is there a difference? Because from what I'm getting, we are getting in depth of, of getting to know you. And thank you for your, like, she's just, the curiosity is what's moving us. But
these are great questions. Good.
Here I am, racking my brain. I had some questions, but I'm like, we're off to a really good start to just having good conversation. I mean, there's a lot to be said about, number one, our health, and then our community. So we got two people talking it up right now, and I love it. I love it.
It's a great question, though. It's a really important question, what you're asking, because that's one of the biggest challenges. I don't think he'll mind me sharing this, but I was chatting with CJ the other day about the challenges of being a local small business owner. And it's totally true with a brand on social media. Is like, where do the lines of me being the promise I make in my business versus me being myself?
Yeah.
So
that is a point that I won't shit on myself. A point that I could have made earlier in the explanation of what Gentle Millennial Friend is. One of the big things when I was establishing this, and I could have shouted out my friend Sloan, who's also a local that helped me get that page started, was really involved, taught me a lot about, if you looked at my process, if you can call it that, for creating and posting content for Gentle Millennial Friend now that it's rolling, it's easier to just kind of do a similar schedule week to week. But she actually helped me understand like content planning and sort of brand building. But one of the things that we decided really early on was that this page did need to be me. Because I, for better or for worse, am not super good at not being myself. I can sort of switch things up a little bit, or like amplify different aspects of my personality depending on the environment that I'm in. I definitely have my like professional, serious side for like meetings at work. I have my fun camp counselor side that I bring out for programs with elementary school age kids. But these are all parts of myself that I can't really conceal even if I try. And so we decided that Gentle Millennial Friend, they at least sort of like the personality and the intention behind that page and that I have personally need to be one and the same, because I sort of morally and personally just like cannot maintain something that is not essentially just me having fun on the internet.
Right. And your promise is authenticity in a way.
Yeah. And luckily, this sounds like tooting my own horn, but like that one's an easy one to keep, because like I don't even know who I would like create for the internet and like try to sort of build a brand around if it wasn't myself, which is kind of an odd thing in and of itself. It definitely comes with a nuance of like building a brand around yourself, but I don't know who I would be building a brand around.
Well, no, absolutely. I think anytime you're building a personal brand, and I'm going to shout out my friend Julie Catino, who runs a company called Brand School. She used to be VP of brand for Virgin, and then left to start a small business teaching branding to small business owners. But your personal brand, you want it to be like, bring as much of you and apply it to that as possible. And so that makes total sense. But like, I guess when so I ran this purple, which I've talked about in here before. And sometimes if I showed up in town at the coffee shop, I'm trying to think if there's any example, like, are there any settings where you feel like that version of you is a hard one to be, where it's like hard to show up as yourself? Sometimes, like for me, like when I was struggling, and people are like, oh, there's all these great things happening. And I'd be like, oh, I don't want to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just curious, are there any areas where that's hard for you?
Yeah, I definitely. So that concept we talked about earlier of being present in the moment, that is something that I think having a page like this has really made me strive for, because there's sort of that double purpose of like, I want to be happy and feel personally satisfied moment to moment. And it's one of those things where like everything could be content, but like if I'm sitting at, like, I'm probably going to go on a little walk along the Quarry Trail after this.
Yeah.
And there's going to be moments when I want to just like record, I don't know what to call it besides the kind of tacky phrase, like the majesty of the ocean.
Yeah.
Like there's such amazing coastline here that's so
It's
beautiful.
so amazing.
And like my sort of curious mind and like growing up, going to Ocean Shore, RIP. Nice. And having Oceans Week every year where we'd get to go to the beach, we'd learn about marine life, and it was super applicable to like the science curriculum we were learning, and also fucking sick. Like get to build sandcastles and learn about whales.
It's
like
amazing.
Yeah.
It's
so I'm extremely grateful to have spent a lot of my childhood here on the coast, and I want to share that with people. I want to like bottle that up and put that on places like the Gentle Millennial Friend page.
Right.
But sometimes I go on a walk and I'm like, I'm just not in a good mood, or I'm just not feeling like being positive or being gentle. There's some people in leadership at my workplace that I do not want to be gentle with. But that's that kind of, I guess, separation or that different aspect of self where in sort of standing up for my personal values, where like I can be really grumpy about sort of being a member of like what at least feels like this working class of people that are just getting by, or like do not know exactly how they're going to make things work long term economically, and having a lot of sort of solidarity there with people. And I try to stay in that positive side of things of like, we're going to build this community and we're going to work together. But there are some days where I'm just like, I hate billionaires. And
Well, I wanted to say something real quick because that brought in, when I was going through your page, you had like a little alter ego thing going, like a split personality where you were doing your Halloween, when you were explaining Halloween. Yes. And then the other you was like, you're just, you know what I mean?
So get out of the conversation.
You could definitely do more of that. But just looking at your page, like I said, I think is super authentic because it's the things that you actually do and questions that you would actually ask, and then you just share. But I wanted to say, because we were talking, I might have missed it, but when did like Gentle Millennial Friend start? Like when did it actually? When was it actually born?
So we launched March 1st, I believe, either March 1st or April 1st of 2024. So it's been like a year and a half plus of Gentle Millennial Friend. And it's definitely been a journey. I've had my brush with virality happen recently where it has been cool. I've gained, I think, about 300 followers from a singular video at this point, which like, I do not have a huge following, but like the idea was not to go viral and like get big that way. It was to build an authentic audience. But for whatever reason, there is one day that I'd learned, I think I saw a recipe on Reddit about how to make like kind of a syrup, almost like a latte or like dessert syrup out of fig leaves. Because I have 2 fig trees in my backyard. And honestly, for the last couple years, their fruit has not been great. Like I haven't seen a lot of like ripe edible figs coming off of them that the rats and possums in the backyard have not stolen from us. They got to eat too though. So I decided I was going to make syrup out of the leaves. And that now has 288,000 views.
Wow.
People are really into the fig leaf syrup video for some reason, but it's bringing people to my page that are staying.
Yeah.
So
love it.
I appreciate it. And it's generated this now, monthly occurrence where one Fun Fact Friday every month is a Fun Food Friday. And I do a different recipe. So the last one was pumpkin spice syrup. There's potato leek soup. They have not gotten as many views as the fig leaf syrup. So
I think it's the fig. I think you need to do a fun fig fact.
Maybe. Figs are crazy.
Or like a fig recipe or like, dig into the fig.
All right. I will dig into the fig. I'll bring the figs back.
we're creators here, you know what I mean? And I'm just jumping into the content creation. So I'm on our Next Right Step TikTok. Naturally,
Ooh, I
it's
gotta
like,
follow.
do you want to build a brand? I don't know. It's just
We
like
have a Next Right Step
look at
TikTok.
that. She's like, what? Yeah, because I do know this.
Okay, you got to keep me posted a
Well,
little.
the thing about it is well, I wanted to say this on air is like.
Yeah.
I want to say like you're the face. Like I didn't want to like put that pressure on you.
Yeah.
Like we're the face, but like you know what I mean. I love that you start us off and like you have an abundance of knowledge, and I'm so glad that I can get you wind you up and you can go because then I don't have to do that part. But then the part that I like. The legs, I will go out, I will do the production, I'll do the behind the scenes, I'll do the technical things of it because I'm learning and I'm actually, because I do aspire to do this for my kids. You know what I mean? My kids are like athletic background and other whatever they're going to do. I'm like, well, I can get behind that and, you know, I can be the one. Because guess what? When you go and try to pay for that service, it's going to, so, and it also kind of brings me naturally to like, well, if I learn enough, then I'll be able to help somebody out, and you know what's my time worth it? You know, because I don't think that I'm ever going to be in a space where I want to even say that I want to charge for any type of service that I have. I just have these things that benefit our media platform, and as I go. Side gigs, like helping out the bands, getting content. I don't do that. I don't like, hey, I can do this. No, it's like, here you go. Because I love, you're the homie, you're the friend. Shout out to the Extinguisher Band and Evan and Michelle. I got the Bitsko candle here burning.
Bits,
What is, I want to make sure I'm correct. What does it say on the label? What type of candle is it?
It is an Ocean Breeze candle
Ocean Breeze.
La Marca Prosecco bottle.
Yeah.
I've got a bottle of La Marca in my fridge right now.
Bring it to Michelle. She'll make it into a candle.
You know
La Marca. Don't forget to tag them.
Yeah, I mean.
Sponsor us.
Sponsor us now.
Yeah. No joke.
Get the
why not
business where you can.
La Croix.
If we're in that segment of conversation in terms of like content creation versus like, you know, a marketable brand, because obviously, like you said, you're keeping it organic. And that's what I've learned for myself is like, don't try to sell it, but also understand that there's a brand that's being built. And if we're building a strong foundation, then somebody will get on board and say, and it could be a private investor or it can be like, hey, we want you to be the face of this situation. You know what I mean? Henson Point. What is it? The Wonder.
I was about to make that point. Actually, another shameless plug for this, but genuinely, like they have a really prevalent presence and following on social media because they are, I believe, millennials that founded this company and created a bottle design that has become very popular. They are very transparent about their intentions with this, where donations go. And they were very transparent about their ambassador program that I ended up applying for and getting into, where I got a couple of bottles for free. I believe they're going to be coming out with a special holiday line soon, which ambassadors might get some samples of, which would be really cool. But essentially, they give us a couple products to help promote their brand. And when I promote it, it's usually, and the way that they want us to sort of create or like send them even content about their products is that I take this on hikes. I recently went to the Grand Canyon and Zion National Parks for the first time. I got to put those stickers on while like looking at the insane like Colorado Plateau rock formations out there.
Yeah.
So this sort of encourages certain like life experiences and doing things that I'm passionate about anyway. I like the intention of their business, and sort of on the business side, what people are looking for in the market right now is authenticity. They call it UGC, user-generated content.
Yes.
So it is sort of a welcoming market to be yourself. And so I literally, my role is to post at least one story with one of their products in it every month and send them 5 unedited videos or pictures of me with my water bottle. And I'm like, that's fine with me because I bring this everywhere. Like, it wasn't even a question. I didn't even think about like, should I bring this water bottle specifically? No, I just fill it up every day and it hydrates me wherever I go, which is important. You should hydrate. Everyone should hydrate.
Hydrate or dihydrate. I just heard that somewhere.
Somewhere.
And it is Christmas coming up, and Hanukkah, I should say. There's so many less Jews out here. It's so interesting. Like you would not.
I forget you moved from New York. Yeah.
Right?
Go to the East Bay.
And so you
plenty.
said kvetch earlier.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you speak Yiddish?
So many less
It's
Jews.
not possible. But anyway, holidays are coming up. Those seem like a really great holiday present. And I think I'm probably going to get one for my daughter.
There you go. I got a discount code for you.
Oh, right
Let's
on.
go.
And
right.
they do, you can also customize, you can take pictures of yourself in certain parks that they will make into stickers for your water bottle. Just a little extra treat.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it's very personalizable.
so smart.
Mhm.
It's so smart. And then you have this thing that, like, if you see somebody else having it, you're like, yeah, team. What's the name of the business?
Wondery Outdoors.
Wondery Outdoors. Team Wondery.
Yep, exactly.
You know.
I mean, in a little while, when it shows up, you're going to be Team Wondery too. You're going
That's
to be
right.
like, you know,
Get those stickers on
Right.
there. We can
I thought you
compare
were
Don't
going to
do
say
it.
Team Tickled. I'm trying to build Team Tickled.
build it up.
Yep.
I want to do a quick. We're talking about gifts, and Christmas, and the holidays. I've been in a really giving mood. So when I went on my little journey on Saturday and went to Sharp Park Tap Room, shout out to Sharp Park Tap Room, and then all these businesses, whether it's like personal businesses of just like I have a bunch of old clothes or like they're actually branded companies, whatever it was just a bunch of people coming together. And that's what the amazing part for me was, to like when you just throw away the, like obviously we're movement and we're a podcast and we're doing that, but then I actually got to be myself and I was just talking to people and and I love the feedback as well. So they're like, oh, it's amazing what you're doing. I was like, we just did this, like we just started yesterday. So anyways,
Seriously, if you'd told me that you were doing that before you started doing it, I would have showed up with my kids.
see, now I feel bad.
No, don't
But
feel bad.
I
Just,
didn't
like, tell
overthink
them.
it, but I kind of precursored in a sense of like, you did tell me that your kids were here, so I wanted to make sure
Like,
that space was there.
You didn't want to put
And then that was like a calling card
my
for us.
21-year-old. We would have had fun, but we'll do it. Oh, sorry. Anyway, I didn't mean to give you a guilt trip.
No,
I was
no
just
guilt trip.
like, I saw that and I was like, I want to be there.
That is something that I do want to shout out, though, that I'm sure it has been mentioned in many forms on this podcast before, but you, Leo, pour so much into this community. Like you
Yeah.
put so much effort
Do
into
I?
connecting people and resourcing people, and it's really cool to see. And it is
So beautiful.
a great base to hopefully build from for our future utopia, where everyone
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful.
I'm glad that we got Ian right here. That's my boy, because before I was pouring into this community, I was just pouring Jameson bottles into a glass. And that's how it all started. But no,
now it's
seriously.
metaphorical pouring.
I got some gifts for both of you.
Oh
my God.
These are some.
man.
So I went to the Sharp Park Tap Room, and I seen these candles. So I want you guys to open it up. That one's for you, and then Sophia, can you pass her that?
Yeah.
That one's for you. I don't know what I'm trying to find the.
Wow.
Oh,
I'll get the,
man. I don't get a whole lot of presents. Thanks, Leo.
But I was just in the spirit of, gift giving, and they had this candle vendor on at the Sharp Park Tech Room, and I
Oh,
love
wow,
flowers,
that's so
they had the
pretty.
floral
Yeah,
thing,
so beautiful.
and then Ian,
Love it.
this is
I'm
for
never
mom
burning
right
this,
here.
just so you know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm gonna show it. I got this for Ian's mom. This one was really cool.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so this I gotta go. I'm gonna get the name, but it was just like I said, it was a family, and they had their kids with them, and they just set up, and that's what I love about the organic
That's
networking. So they're a small business, and they probably have a business name. I just didn't see it at the time, but they had these really cool candles, and I got the matches for you too.
That's tight. If she's up there, feel free.
And then my boy Ian, I ain't gonna forget about you.
Maybe just put it on
Soul
the table. Yeah.
Craft. This is some tea that when I went to the other little small business event, This is, we'll talk more about it, but this is like really good. Like tea is just like soothing, helps out for, like if like for me, I was like, oh, this is for me. But then I also thought about like friends and family of like, okay, well, I have access to this because I'm gonna hit this girl up. But it's like, it says it here. It's like it calms you down. It's like a calming, soothing type of tea. So I was like, all right, well, local business. And I know my boy Ian always be hooking me up with,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, stress-free time, you know what I mean, especially with this studio and all that stuff. So I just wanted to, man, give you a little
Sweet.
gift.
Right on. Thank you, man. Maddie,
There you go.
And I just want to call out and appreciate Leo, like what you're doing is philanthropy.
Mhm.
And like when you go around and you take all your business to local, and I love it. And like that's what I know that like when I travel to a city, I try to
Yeah.
do that. I try to find like the store that's run by a collective of women artists or
Yes.
something, and spend a ton of money there and get all my souvenirs and my gifts there. And
Yeah.
like, I love how you're bringing sort of Small Business Saturday and stuff to life. And
Yeah.
like, it's so, it is such a gift totally to the community.
Well, I told Alex, they just opened Sharp Park Taproom. I said, with my like going into this new chapter of like being sober, and shout out to my sober folks out there. It's a community out there, and it's not like trying to like bragging, but it's more of like just being aware of it now. So now that I'm in it, I'm aware of it, and that's with anything. It's like, oh, okay, because you just, my eyes are open, I would say. So as I'm on this journey, people are telling their story. You know what I mean? And I was like, if I like to yap, just imagine if we get into what you were talking about in our first episode of being in a safe space. So
Yeah.
we're sharing essentially the vulnerability that it takes to be like taking something where there's a line drawn where it's like we feel like we can't go into this space,
Yeah.
and then turn it away from that into just pure curiosity. And then, so now here I am on this Saturday, and then shout out to my higher power, my faith. Like I was telling you earlier, Sophia, of my son, that he was just trying to get a buck, and he knew where to go, and it ended up turning into something that was so much more. Like my son was my camera operator, and it was amazing. We spent 4 hours together. That was 4 hours that I will never ever forget. Secretly, or if he ever sees this podcast, secretly it was like everything that I was praying and asked for, you know what I mean? And it was just one of those things where the patience that God is allowing me to have, and the focus, like look at like just putting my feet to the pavement and talking to people, and just like that,
So beautiful.
he just brought, you know what I mean? So I'm amazed by how much can happen when you actually just get out there and just talk to people. And I've noticed that people are starting to say more. It's like you have a gift. You can get people to talk. In places where they wouldn't, in settings where they feel like what can I do to even just get my brand up and going, or get the business. I was talking to a guy, the shout out Lobo Ice Cream, and he was just like, man, I'm just like, I bring myself and then I have ice cream. You know what I mean? And I said, that's super dope. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. Like, and I bought the ice cream, and I was like, and it was good. So that's, to me, in terms of like, there's so much out here in Pacifica, and there's so much, there's things that's going on. Like I'm more of the newcomer, and in terms of just the years I've been here, but I'm also like, in terms of like the curiosity now, turning that switch on. Things are already happening. Like, so that's why I asked you, how long has the Gentle Millennial been going on? Because you've built, quite a brand, and quite, I would say content is consistent. And that's where, at least, that part, like the consistency is is like not the most important part, but it's important. Cause like what you put out isn't important if you're not consistently doing it. Right. And that's when I became, a novice and a student of like what this platform can do for us. So here we are at the podcast, Sarah. You see, we made it because of a conversation. It happened naturally, and now as it's going, as our 5th episode is here, I'm more comfortable. I'm just a little more. Not like, I'm not like feeling like I'm a pro or anything, but I'm like, we've been here. This is our 5th episode, and it just, like the way it happened, even with you, Sophia, as far as like the interest came from because I met you at Winters. Shout out to Winters. Winters is like the life source,
definitely
the resource center for like all things media. But also, it's starting to get me going out more in Pacific because there is much more. And I wanted to say, I was going to say off air, but I can even say it now. Like when you do your content, I noticed that it's a solo. Like you're kind of like you got your mic stand and things like that, which is super cool as a curious mind, and it'll get me outdoors. If you ever need a camera operator or somebody that can just help, just a second hand, hit me up and I'll be more than willing to come through. You see, I got a little bit of stuff to help out. This is how it happens.
Because I was thinking about when you were talking about sort of the origin of this podcast, you have a resource.
Yes.
You have a buddy that you have been coming to this studio in some form with for over a decade. And like you have experience with small businesses, creating vulnerable and safe spaces, having intimate conversations with people.
I should also say, like, and I keep this in the background. I guess I've talked about it on here a little bit in the episode but this was my intention when I brought the foundation to Pacifica. Like the Saul Silbert Charitable Trust, which is the nonprofit that I run, is funding this project of me being here and trying to foment community. So like it happened because of a conversation between us, but there was an intention on my part to create that. And I think, so I'm going to take a little tangent for a second. Purple, we had, we called ourselves an incubator for people to build lives that they're passionate about. And there's a whole background there around like my original vision for the space versus the vision we manifested when my husband started collaborating with me. But we had a shared workspace downstairs that we opened before co-working was like a thing. Oh gosh, I hope I remember where I'm going with this. Oh yeah. And then during the time we opened in 2010 and, shut down in 2024. And during that time, co-working took off as this massive thing. But at the time where we opened in the community, like outside of New York City, where there's a little bit more space, the idea of co-working was like, why would I bother? I've got room to work at home. And when co-working started to get really marketed, like WeWork and all of those things, there was this idea that community just happens spontaneously when you're in the same space. But that's not true. Right. Community takes a facilitative environment.
For sure.
It doesn't necessarily take a facilitator, but it does need a facilitative environment. And part of a facilitative environment is intention.
Yes.
So when you go around and your intention is to support the community, everything you're doing is supporting the community because that's the intention you're inhabiting.
For sure.
And if your intention is to earn money, then everywhere you go, the intention you're inhabiting is to earn money, and it's a different lens. If you're a photographer, I just watched this great documentary recommended to me by Matt called Artists in Residence. If you can find it online anywhere, I would look for it. It's about these 3 single mom women artists living in New York City in the 70s, and they ended up all buying a house together that became this whole community hub. But it's like when you live your desire for the world, you manifest your desire for the world in some way. And to that point, I'm going to bring it back to something you said a little bit earlier about the struggle being assertive as the gentle millennial or being like angry and I guess I just wanted to flag that because I think that that's a struggle. I think that's part of the problem with the Democratic Party. Not to get into politics right now, but also just all of our fear of being like the angry. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a crazy person, but I feel like if people could actually access on a regular basis an understanding of how far from our human intentions we actually are, like how distorted our lens is by the reality we're living in versus what it actually would feel like to live in a way that was guided by their own wants and desires, they'd be so angry. And part of the reason we don't do that is it's scary to think that we're so affected by our culture, and yet we are, and I think we do need to be assertive about that.
And that's
kind of part of the struggle of this moment in time is how do we assert that and still be the humane, positive people we want to be.
I definitely stuck on what you said about sort of culture.
Yeah.
To bring it to even more political or socio-political realm.
Yeah.
I think we
Q-in.
do.
Dun, 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 dun.
Not so gentle millennial friend coming out.
Yes, do it.
This is definitely the sort of the organizer and the agitator, like union steward side of me coming out. That like the one quote that I would take from / about Joe Biden is that he did play that sort of joyful warrior person, where it's like, I have things that I'm very impassioned about that I'm not going to let selfish people stop me from accomplishing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do that by sharing joy with people and having solidarity with other people. And we have, especially in the US, I think from the roots of this country, a very prominent culture of politeness and falling into line with certain things, even if they don't serve literally or figuratively the majority of the population.
Right.
And I think a lot of people could stand to like express the anger and the frustration that they have in like feeling stuck or dissatisfied in many different ways with their circumstances that have been directly brought about by our political system that does not truly extend help to people who need it, whether it's mental health or recovering from addiction or stable housing or employment or income. Like, no one has really given enough of a shit to get angry enough about that publicly and also like say that to the people who have power and find a way to be heard in their anger.
Yeah.
To foment that on a large scale and to make it happen.
Well, I guess, right. And I guess the challenge is how do we do that in a productive way? Like part of the fear about being assertive is that we're going to, we're conflict avoidant because we don't want to create an unmanageable situation. But part of how we do that gently is by doing it with solutions in mind. You know what I mean? And I guess like, in terms of like gentility versus assertiveness, I don't know. Just like how do you think we could start to address that in a gentle way, or what are the ways in for change?
It's a big question.
And I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, or you can go wherever you want. Yeah.
One of the sort of things that I have learned and I'm still learning to settle with a bit in my own life and in sort of the organizing that I continually try to do is that sometimes we don't have answers. I have a lot of criticisms of our current political system and criminal system and the ways in which these things like law enforcement eke into our lives often in unpleasant ways. But I singularly certainly don't know what should replace them or what we should be doing instead. But I think starting to form these networks and communities, getting more people's perspectives, sort of uniting with or like being in conversations with as many different people as possible is how we at least start, because it builds that understanding of like, I don't like this thing that kind of seems to be pissing me off or like really not working for me. Is it not working for you? And you'll find other people that are like, yeah, and here's what I think about it. Or like, here's something that I think could work instead. Or here's something I've tried that's working for me, until that builds to a larger scale where like you can never get a huge group of people to all definitely completely agree on any singular thing, but you can reach a consensus that there's something better that you've all sort of plotted together.
Yeah. I love that. And that's right back to intention, right?
Shout out to Next Right Step doing conversations over here. I swear when you guys are talking, I'm just like, I'm putting the mic down right now because, and I will say this, Sophia, I truly do love your content. And, just getting to know you as at Winners, we'll have small talks, but this is your calling right here. Like, you definitely should have your own podcast. And I'm honored and glad that me and Sarah were able to have this, this here platform for you to just have an extensive conversation of what you're already doing, hanging out. Like you said, you're about to go for a walk when you know what I mean? And I'm going to go for a drive. I'm not walking. I actually, I knew where I knew where my health was because, a buddy of mine, when I got off of work, he was like, let's go to this, let's walk to this bar. It's down the street. And I was like, all right, cool. And it was down the street, but it was up a hill, those hilly San Francisco streets. And all of 3 minutes went by, and I realized that all I can really hear is myself breathing as we're talking. I was like, yeah, the other day. And it's not to say that it wasn't a hard walk, but I've gotten away from, I've been, because I'm very stationary at work, I'm on a post. And then you have to make it a point because there is a nice little walk that you can, when you like patrol, and you can make it a point to. And I've done that before, but I've gotten away from it. So if I want to say something of hard, going back to our intro.
Yeah, I was just going back to that in my mind too.
If we're saying time, and when I say time management, I want to say because I'm not putting in the time for myself as much as I'm leading on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even like walking with my son and doing that, I was like a little fatigued. I was like, okay, so, and then that's why I even told you, like, if you're gonna go on a walk and you need a helper, I'm actually like, I'm manifesting it for myself. It's like, well, you need to go on a walk anyway. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to tie that in. So I wanted to say that.
You remind me of a couple of plugs that I should sneak in here that I really like too. I know that you have something to say too, but you reminded me, this beanie actually is merch for a group called No Worries Amigo Hiking Club.
Nice.
That their entire, I believe they are a registered 501c3 as of this or last year. And Jeff, the founder of it, started hiking because his mental health struggles were like starting to take over his life. But he found that getting outside and getting active, especially like listening to his own breathing, getting fatigued, focusing on these like immediate factors rather than all the anxiety, all the planning, all the possibilities, really helped. And so he started a hiking group around that. And now he's got merch. It's a registered nonprofit with a whole board.
Is he's local?
He's local. He does a lot of stuff in the South Bay, but he's been expanding up to this area. There's also
well, we got you. You know what I mean? I'm going to go through you to get that
for
beanie.
sure. Yeah. Shout out No Worries Amigo Hiking Club. Jeff is awesome.
Right on.
And they involve a lot of park staff. So I'm trying to wade through the red tape to get them to where I work. And someday it's going to happen. But specifically working with a lot of local government agencies, nonprofits. He does a lot of stuff with Santa Clara Valley Open Space. They're awesome. Their program staff is super cool. And there are communities like that out there. So tap into those. They're really cool.
I appreciate the information. That's the thing. Like, it's like we're all sharing our information. We're all sharing what we know or what we don't know. And, one thing I do know is I'm going to I'm gonna keep putting my feet to the pavement with that. That was like my calling card
Well,
towards
yeah.
you. Like, because
that's what I was going to say. Like,
Yeah,
we could
let's
have
do it.
3 times a week where we,
Yeah.
and like every day I'm up on the San Pedro Mountain Trail and
Okay.
there's people on bikes and stuff.
That's
Like,
it.
like
And
we
I
could
got the
just,
mic, so
we could just go
we'll be
on the
chopping it up.
calendar
Stop the
and plan
bikes,
it at
sir.
the beginning of the week. Yeah. But
Stop
like,
what you're doing now and come talk to us.
Hit the brakes.
I
Come
have
back.
to make content, don't you know? But
it's good. It would be great to do
Yeah.
that.
Ooh, maybe I'll do a video on multi-use trail courtesy.
yeah, and then you see us
Multi-use
like,
trail.
you see these guys? We
Yeah.
just got a whole production team just out there. We're just like just
Calling
going against
out
the whole
bikers.
purpose. No, I love it. I love that we're just constantly, either planting a seed or just hopping in. I like to say hopping in the vehicle that's already moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just put on a seatbelt and keep it moving. And to be honest, sir, I did it with intentions, and I was like, well, we're gonna have that conversation. I knew we would have that conversation of saying, well, let's keep doing
Yeah.
this together. And it's all about timing, making
Yeah.
sure that we have, But one thing I do know is that's just something like I'd ordered the
Yeah,
table
this
cover.
is amazing.
And then that's a multi-purpose because
Guys.
obviously it's like podcasts, like, wow, these guys are pros. But also when we go out and do our events, we're going to be vendors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we got some things coming, man.
That's
I-
awesome.
I know. And just to like clarify, like I'm not criticizing. I'm just like, oh my God, Leo did another thing. Oh my God, Leo did another thing.
He's doing lots of
like,
things.
Yeah, like I can't keep up. And
No,
like
are you kidding
I
me?
wanna be engaged and I want to be supportive. And also like I'm really excited about this too. And
Yeah.
I've got like, a lot of like I want to think with you.
Yeah.
Like I love thinking with you in here and I want to think with you a little bit outside of here too.
Well, I would say this, like when I go out, it's the same thing as when like you're here. And I appreciate
I
you
know.
letting me know. It's like
Yeah.
they're telling me like, oh, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, and like I said, I'll put it like the book. I was really curious, but
Yeah.
as I'm going, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I know
It's
it was
awesome. I mean,
serve
you're
purpose.
practicing and you're building and like
Yeah.
let's do it more together. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
For sure.
Okay.
And then, so to our shameless plugs, Sophia, I know, like I said, you're building your brand and you're just being yourself, and I'm amazed at that. But I feel like we're officially friends now, and we, shout out to my boy Anders. I seen like our last besides because we can talk endlessly about Winters because that's really where we all met. But I remember, I think you weren't there at one, was the reggae thing that I seen Anders over at OPL.
Mm-hmm.
And it was dope. And I got to have a good conversation with him and his background and like his work.
Yeah.
And it was like super cool to sit down and talk with him. And
Is that who I met the other night?
I
He has
also I need
the
to get him
night
on
you-
here at some point. If you
you
think
guys were
I
in
have a
the
nice
studio?
speaking voice,
Yeah. Which one?
The night you went into the studio we were at Winters beforehand. Open mic night a couple weeks.
You said Anders? No, that was Andrew. No,
That was Andrew.
Yeah,
okay,
that was
somebody
Andrew.
else. Okay,
And
sorry.
this
common
is her
misconception
partner.
about Anders' name is that it is Andrew.
This is her partner, Anders.
Oh, okay.
And-
He has the matching tattoo.
So let's talk about your wedding
Oh yeah,
band,
sure.
or if you would like to.
I
Just want.
guess, yeah.
Let's just talk about the actual image. Like, what is
Oh yeah, so it is a pie. It is not a Krabby Patty, contrary to popular belief, though it looks like a burger. The one pet name that Anders and I really have ever used for each other is Cutie Pie.
Nice.
So we've thought it out. So our plan is to get married next Halloween. And actually, as a sneak peek of what Gentle Millennial Friend is going to be like for the next 10 months is I do not have time to create content as consistently as I do now about separate stuff and plan a wedding because we are trying to make a 100+ person wedding happen in the Bay Area under 10 grand, which is a lofty goal as we are discovering quickly.
If
So-
you're
I can
watching
help you with
this,
that. I can help you.
All right. My resort was going to be a GoFundMe. So
I can help you.
amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a venue picked out, but we need a lot
Oh.
of vendor help. A lot.
Okay.
But yeah, that is what my content is going to be pivoting to.
nice.
Anders is a much more laid back person than me. So I'm going to be using my pusher aspects of my personality to push him to be more decisive in this process because we're already getting to stuff where he's like, oh, I don't really care what you choose. Just choose what you want. And I'm like, you're getting married too, dude. And like, neither of us are super passionate.
You're not doing me a favor when you say that.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what you
may think you're helping.
You think you're just like being considerate, but actually you're just putting all the burden on me.
Because he's also, love you, Anders, he's very conflict avoidant. And so he will have opinions that he just keeps to himself.
Until later on. And then it's like, actually, this really does bother me.
Exactly. Like,
Anders, I'm trying to hold it.
I'm sorry.
Try to
I just recognize the pattern.
No.
Yeah. But like, he is definitely, he's a wonderful person with really interesting stories. He should definitely, if anyone should have a podcast or be on a podcast, it is him. He has had an interesting life, and he's 29 too. Like, he's lived a lot of lifetimes in 29 years.
Dang, you 29? That's a theme over here. Isn't Liam 29?
Yeah.
You guys,
prime numbers.
29-year-olds.
You guys were all the same year?
Because we all went to high school together.
Yeah,
so
that's so crazy.
I was on or me and Liam were some of the youngest people in our grade. Liam's younger than me. One of the only people who is in my graduating class. Yeah, I think we're all 95, 96 babies for the most part. Our friends that graduated high school first are obviously earlier years, but we're probably all within 5 to 7 years of each other, like the Winters crew for the most part. But that is another reason why I need to expand.
We got to get her
bring Anders
on here again and bring Anders.
Yeah.
But to be honest,
or spin off some groups, convos. I mean, that's one thing that's occurring to me as I'm sitting here is that one of the next right steps. And maybe we each could just sort of commit to a next right step that we thought of today that we're going to try over the next week for ourselves as a closing conversation. But for me, I was just like, so I'm a licensed therapist in Massachusetts. I'm not licensed in California, but I have those skills.
I'm editing that out.
As someone who wants to
do that.
It's like, what?
Certificates in different states are one of the biggest pains in the ass.
It's procedural.
We know
but
it.
my point was, I really love running support groups, and that's one of the things I've really been wanting to do. I want to run a psychedelic integration group. I want to run a new mom support group.
Yes.
I would love for you to co-facilitate with me a men's support group, a men's group. Or like, I don't know, an EQ group or something, we could talk about it. Or just even a place like to process how I think it's really hard to be a good man right now or to like try to show up in all the right ways. And and I'm like, I'm not saying that to take anything away from how hard it is to be a woman, because God fucking knows. Like, by the way, I own the domain 12angrywomen.com. And one day we have to talk about that business idea I have. That's still, I'm like on my back burner. But anyway, my next right step is to just start hosting. I think I'm going to start running some of those groups out of the house. I'll do the songwriters group. I'll do the psychedelic integration group. I'll do the new moms group, which is basically, it doesn't have to be a brand new mom, but the goal of the group is to process the psychedelic experience that is becoming a mother.
Yeah.
And like, especially in today's reality with the Trump government and everything, is like, how do you show up as a parent? And maybe it's parents and not mothers, I don't know.
If you want to do a nature journaling or nature-based one, let me know.
Yes. And I would love if you wanted to run one out of the house, because like that's what the idea of the Tickled Homestead was, is to be a hub for these things, like Purple was in the Trust's last community, in my last community, Hastings on Hudson, is like, if you have an idea of a group you want to start, come run it.
Okay.
I'd love to host it. Let's do it.
We'll be in touch.
I love how this
let's
is
do it.
all happening here on the podcast. Like, I'm pretty sure, like you said, you have these already existing things. I just feel like this is the time and now where the legs are just being put together.
And this is a platform.
Moving.
It's just like,
it's huge.
Hey, people are it's like, for me, it's like, it's a manifestation.
Yes.
And people want to talk about these things. People
Absolutely.
need to talk about these things,
Absolutely.
And so I like all I want to do is talk about these things and help people talk about these things.
Man.
So it's like, it just seems like ripe for the picking. So more to come on that.
Absolutely.
Portraits of self-care.
Right on.
Mhm.
So do we have
So
any?
that's my next right step.
Oh, okay. So my next right step is what I just said on this podcast is taking better care of my physical health and it just because I know so much how much it connects to your mental health, and although I can list a bunch of things that were like, no, that was a good thing. That was a good thing. I'm glad I did all these things, but now it's time to redirect. And it doesn't necessarily, for me this time around, that's why I'm glad I'm talking to you, Sophia, that it doesn't have to be a gym thing. Because that was my go-to, was like, I need to get back in the gym. And it's, although I will, because I do like to throw around the weight a little bit, I feel like that outdoor stuff is more fitting to what I'm already doing here, and it just makes more sense.
I also really want to get you to come to a hot yoga class with me in Daly
She's
City
invited me.
at
God,
Hot
bring a
Yoga
towel.
Plus. Yeah, Hot Yoga Plus Daly City. Shout out! I love that studio. I try to go every
Right on.
day. I usually
Wow.
go 3
Yeah.
times a week,
Nice.
but it's a very awesome practice.
Yeah.
That you might, I
Yeah.
think you might find it interesting because it really like focuses your mind because that's all you can think about is moving.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's so hot.
There's no room for anything else mentally.
Yeah.
You did mention some books that you're reading, Sophia. Which one did you currently like literally put down?
Gosh, like the one that I'm currently reading or the one that I
Like-
mentioned earlier?
Not even just something that you're reading that like you just most recently
Man.
were turning pages.
So I just finished. I'm into the epilogue now because it's a crazy interesting book. And something that like I think about a lot in my work, and I think about a lot with connection between people and each other, people and land, like the natural world. And it's a book about the Nez Perce Wars in mostly Washington, all the way over to Wyoming,
Nice.
where there was a bunch of really convoluted stuff about a treaty that was signed by a certain band of Nez Perce people to essentially leave their ancestral territory and go onto the reservation. And this was
Wow.
a time immediately post-Civil War where this was the peak of this
Yeah.
happening. This is like Trail of Tears era. And it's from the perspective of both they call him chief, the de facto leader. He did not intend to be a leader, but kind of just ended up being a spokesperson for his smaller, more isolated band of Nez Perce people who did not agree to that
Sure.
treaty. And his sort of back and forth with the U.S. government, especially this guy named General Howard from the U.S. Army. And everybody thinks that they're doing the right thing in this situation. The general thinks he's civilizing these people by forcing them off their ancestral lands. This leader is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we've lived here for thousands of years. Like,
Yeah.
we live this nomadic lifestyle. We have horse herds. That's the introduction and reintroduction of horse species to America as a whole Gentle Millennial Friend series I could do. But they were like legendary horseback riders and cattle herders and like this entire system that they had that was working.
Yeah.
And they're being told, oh, but you just need to do that in the colonial style and you just need to move here like it's no big deal.
Right.
And people who are telling them this really think that that's what should happen. It's what they believe. And so it's a fascinating, absolutely heartbreaking book that I just got to the end of, in which this leader, Joseph, essentially dies on the reservation. Like, there is not a solution reached there. And there's still like, we still have not rematriated land to tribes for the most part. So it's something that gets me very fired up. It's something that I try to do as much as possible in my current work. I don't really have any leadership authority, but whenever possible, I try to connect with established local tribes that have like their own inner workings, their own work toward things like federal recognition, their own conflicts with each other, but it's worth doing and it's worth incorporating that perspective because it's a perspective that's been around since way before anyone I'm related to has been on this land. So
Wow.
it's a
That's
fascinating
amazing.
book.
I appreciate that share. And then to tie in our closing question, we'll go back to what Sarah was asking for you, Sophia.
Mhm.
What is the next right step for you?
Man, I feel like I'll be definitely beating a dead horse here, metaphorically, but being present. I think trying to enjoy each passing moment. I have been so caught up in like, I'm taking these classes and I'm working full time and I'm doing Gentle Millennial Friend and I'm doing steward stuff and I didn't even get into roller derby. That's another episode.
Oh,
Speaking
we definitely got to bring you back.
Okay.
You could come back with some of your teammates and we could do a group interview.
That would be so cool, especially because like derby is such a niche sport. We're constantly trying to find exposure and ways for people to get involved because we are a nonprofit.
Yeah, we could do a roller derby episode.
That would be sick. Is
it a Pacifica team?
By the next episode, I'm like this all toned up and like, we did everything we said we were going to do. I'm on the roller derby team.
We could always use videography and all that kind of stuff too.
Let's do it.
But anyway, before we get too off topic, really like enjoying the richness of all the things that are in my life instead of just like, oh, I'm really busy. Like time management is a big factor for me and I often fail at it. I often like forget stuff. I'm so glad I remembered to show up here on time. But like being grateful that all those things are in my life and that I'm getting to sort of pour my efforts into all these different buckets.
All right.
Well, we're really glad that you showed up here too. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for talking with us. And I think that's it, folks.
All right. It's been a pleasure.
And so
that's it.
That's it.